In Formula One, there are two big buckets of rules: sporting regulations, how the race runs, points, driving standards, and technical regulations, what the car can and cannot be. So when one car gets disqualified for being underweight, or another gets a 5-second penalty for forcing another off the track, that's these regulations in action. And yes, the rules evolve. The 2025 season brought a number of key changes you should know, but the whispers around the paddock, they're already about next year's revolution. 2026 isn't a tweak, it's a rebirth of the machinery itself. Alright, now that the scene is set, let's unravel the big rules you'll see in every race weekend. And naturally, we'll start with the one thing every driver obsesses over: points. How to win by losing less. In 2025, one major tweak: the bonus point for fastest lap has been removed. If you set the fastest lap but finish outside the top 10, you don't get that extra point anymore. Why does that matter? Because previously, drivers had incentive to pit late for fresh tyres just to snatch that point, sometimes messing with strategy, sometimes risking safety. Now the focus shifts slightly. Also, points still go to the top 10 finishers in the Grand Prix. For sprints, top 8 score. This scoring structure makes every place in the top 10 valuable, not just for glory, but for the championship hunt. And while the points system feels settled for now, 2026 could quietly change the stakes. With brand new car designs and strategy dynamics, those lower table points might suddenly mean everything. The numbers might stay the same, but how teams chase them won't. Because once you understand how points are earned, you start seeing how easily they're lost. Colour inside the lines. Here's where you'll often see drama: the invisible lines around the track. Rule says drivers must make every reasonable effort to stay on the track and may not leave without justification. Definition: the white lines defining the edge are part of the track, the curbs are not. If no part of the car remains in contact with the track, you've left. In race sessions, there's typically a 3-strikes system before harsher penalties. So the next time you see a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits 5 times, you'll know what's behind it. And with 2026's cars set to be slimmer and more agile, those white lines will feel even tighter. Less width means less forgiveness. Imagine threading a needle that just got narrower at 300 kilometers per hour. But if track limits test the driver's discipline, the next rules test the engineer's nerve. Built to the millimeter, judged by the gram. This is where the machines get dialed in or disqualified. The technical regulations cover everything: dimensions, aerodynamics, materials, weights. For example, the minimum weight of the car, including driver, when a heat hazard cooling system is mandated, went up by 2 kilograms in practice, qualifying, and plus 5 kilograms for sprint Grand Prix. Also, if after the race a car violates a technical regulation, too light, illegal aero device, etc., disqualification is on the table. When you see someone get disqualified post-race because their plank, skid block is too worn, you're witnessing technical rule enforcement. Rules like no illegal bodywork, no moving aerodynamic parts whose primary purpose is aero are real muscles in the rulebook, and that's just under today's rulebook. 2026 is about to rip the blueprint apart. Smaller, lighter cars, 50-50 electric power, and wings that move. The FIA won't be short on things to measure. If that sounds intense, remember, all that precision exists for one reason: to keep these monsters safe at 300 kilometers per hour. Safety, the fastest slowdown in motorsport. Safety is the underpinning. In 2025, they added or reinforced a few standout measures. Driver cooling systems when a heat hazard is declared. Temperature forecast greater than or equal to 31 degrees Celsius. Teams must equip them. Cars' minimum weight adjusts accordingly. Limits on testing old cars. Race drivers can only drive previous car tests, up to 4 days and 1,000 kilometers. Stricter aero deflection limits. For instance, more loads applied to the rear wing slot gap tests to prevent flexing wings that give an unfair advantage. So when you think it's just flashy tech, remember how much of this is about consistency, fairness and driver welfare. And the next rule evolution? 2026's safety standards will go even further. Stronger structures, lighter chassis, and improved driver cells. Faster cars, yes, but safer than ever. But not every rule is about keeping drivers safe. Some are about letting them fight. Push to pass, pray you don't crash. We've all heard of the drag reduction system, DRS, the overtake lever of F1, yet even its operation is governed by rules. For one, you must be within 1 second of the car in front at the detection point to activate DRS in the activation zone. Also, the system may not be used if the race director deems conditions unsafe, rain, etc. In 2025, the FIA also tightened aero and DRS slot gap rules to reduce loopholes. Then there's strategy, tyre usage rules, the mandatory tyre compounds, stint lengths, safety car restart behaviour, all defined by the sporting regulations. These rules shape when a team might pit, how long they might stay out, and ultimately whether strategy will win or lose them a race. But here's the kicker. In 2026, DRS, as we know it, is going extinct. Active aero and electric boost modes will take its place. Think of it as DRS 2.0. More buttons, more power, and definitely more shouting on the radio. And when those buttons get pushed too far, that's when the stewards get involved. The steward's secret playbook. This is the behind-the-scenes part that drives many conversations. How penalties are assessed. The FIA published new driving standards guidelines and penalty points guidelines in 2025 to provide transparency on how stewards judge incidents. So when you see a penalty for forcing another car off the track or unsafe release, there's a documented framework behind it. Track limits, unsafe releases, causing collisions, exceeding pit lane speed. These all carry penalties, time penalties, grid drops, license points. The rulebook isn't silent, it's just complex. And come 2026, that complexity is about to multiply. Expect a whole new layer of enforcement for illegal boost use or unauthorized aero mode. The steward's toolkit is about to get electric. But rules alone don't make the sport. What really matters is how they shape the race and the chaos that follows. Tension and twist, what most fans miss. Miss here's where things get juicy. It's not just about what the rules say, but how they influence behaviour. A driver knowing the exact minimum weight might tweak the car setup to hit the limit just right. Teams pushing the flexing wing rules to the edge. Aero discipline is a war of millimetres. The removal of the fastest lap point means some late race pit stop gambles may disappear. The strategy landscape subtly shifts. Driver behaviour. With stricter track limits enforcement and stewarding transparency, staying clean is more important than ever. The cost of one mistake may outweigh the reward. Finally, many fans focus on the flashy overtakes or pit stops, but the why behind them is often a cascade of rules. Tyre wear governed by regulations, forced pit stop, DRS opportunity because car ahead pitted early, track limit exit attempt to make up time, 5-second penalty. Understanding the chain helps you predict the drama, not just watch it. And all of that tension, the weight debates, track limit heartbreaks, aero wars, it's just the warm-up. The 2026 regs are coming like a second revolution, and every team knows it. So there you have it. From the points that turn every finishing place into gold, to the white line that separates brilliant move from penalty. The rules of F1 are the unseen race within the race. We're standing at the edge of an era. One rulebook closing, another opening. 2025 is the bridge between what Formula One is and what it's about to become. Next time you sit down for a Grand Prix, you'll see more than two cars chasing each other. You'll see chess played at 220 miles per hour. You'll spot the strategic feints, the engines pushing the limits, the wings dancing with intolerances, the drivers threading through track limit margins. And most of all, you'll know why those rules matter. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to go further, maybe a breakdown of the 2026 rule revolution. Hit subscribe and visit our channel, where we'll keep making the fastest sport on earth simple, clear and fun.